even and odd roots. So the number in the valley is understood to be 2. So if we are looking at an even root, that would be like a square root. So if I'm looking at the square root of 9, I get 3. Everybody should know that. And we are looking only at the primary root most of the time, so that's only going to be the positive root most of the time. The number under the umbrella cannot be negative for an even root. So if we had the square root of negative 9, we can't do that right now, maybe in another week, but right now we cannot do that because this is not a real number. In another week, I will be showing you in more depth that you can split this up and make it 2 square roots, and then you can have this as, we know that the square root of 9 is 3 times the square root of negative 1. And then you will be learning that we have the square root of negative 1 is the letter I, unless you're going into engineering, in which it's the letter J. So the even roots cannot have a negative under the umbrella. Odd roots, though, can. So if I'm looking at the third root of 27, you know by now that that is 3, because it's 3 times 3 times 3, 3 times, not 3 times 3, but 3 times 3 times 3. And we can also take the third root of negative 27. If we do that, we get negative 3. So 3 times 3 times 3 is positive 27. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. I have 1, 2, 3 negatives, so I have a negative answer, 27. So we can take roots of odd roots of negative numbers. Another thing that you need to know about these is perfect squares. A perfect square is a number where you can take the square root of it and get a whole number. So some examples of perfect squares, I'm sure you guys know a bunch of them. We have the square root of 25 is 5, so therefore 25 is a perfect square. The square root of 81 is 9, so therefore 81 is a perfect square. I'm sure you know a lot of them. Square root of 169 gives us 13. So then 169 is a perfect square. Why do we need to know these? Because we will be finding exact roots of numbers. And that's where we might have to find the square root of 50. So then I'd have to split that apart and make it the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. And I know that the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 2, I'm not quite sure what that is exactly, so I would leave it as the square root of 2. And this is my exact answer. And then if I needed to, I could use a calculator to give me the approximated answer.